Welcome to my office. This has been inhabited by numerous men who smoke cigars. I am delighted it no longer is. And I'm delighted to share this with all of you.
And just to have you all in one place, you're all obviously so powerful, but you're also trailblazers and are all firsts in something. And so I talked to Senator Mikulski this morning, who was... Tell me about what it was like in the Congress, but also in the Appropriations Committee so many years ago.
I found it surprising there were so few women. I just didn't think about that. But I remember at that time there weren't a lot of women.
I remember conference committees, because we actually did a lot of them in the early 90s, where the most senior members were in the middle of the table and the most junior members were way out here. And the men would talk to each other right here. And I remember finally just standing up at the end of the table going, "Excuse me," because you couldn't get their attention. Everything was decided in the middle of this table. I think it's pretty amazing. We are at the middle of the table now.
Is when I was first elected back took office in 1997, men were assumed to have the qualifications to be a senator. And if they were elected, it was just automatically assumed that they belonged here. Women had to prove ourselves. There was always an extra barrier to prove that we belonged in the Senate.
You are really looking at 5 women who have control of the most powerful levers of government. Now, that's but how? And for me, in many instances, transcends gender. Think about each of us sitting here. What defines us? What is it? It's knowledge, the deep knowledge of not of the content, but the process, the skills, experience, effectiveness of knowing how to get a policy over the finish line. And in this regard is that's what's dominant here. We didn't get here because we are women.
How do you think you're different than your predecessors in terms of your relationships?
Because I think you want me to succeed. I certainly want you to succeed. And I do think that is a value that women bring to the table. And there's not competition here. There's a genuine want to deliver. Again, not compromising values. People don't have to do that. Disagree vehemently when it's necessary, but this collaborative relationship that's continuous. You can't just call people at the last minute when you need them. You have to keep an open dialogue. And how it's changed, just facts. When I got here in 2001, a man held every one of these positions. Lovely guys, lovely men, but they were all men. This country does not look like that. It's not right. Most Americans don't know what their Appropriations Committee is, but if they heard that women didn't have a seat at the table and how investments were distributed, like that would be a problem.
What are the stakes in funding the government? What are the stakes if there's a default? What would you tell average Americans?
One thing I think people don't want today is chaos. They would like to know that they don't have to worry about whether their government's going to shut down or the economy's going to collapse, or whether something that they rely on, whether it's LIHEAP or whether it's education or whether it's what they need in their daily lives, is going to be held up or some big argument. They would like us to do our jobs.
There are also practical consequences. When we don't pass bills on time, it means that new programs can't start, that old programs that perhaps should be terminated continue to be funded, and it increased the cost to taxpayers. So in many ways, it represents a failure to govern effectively.
Great, thank you so much. I could talk to you all day.